They say the scariest stories aren't the ones made up. They're the ones that actually happened. This story is one of them. A chilling, real-life account of a night that still haunts a family to this day. So, turn off the lights and listen closely. It was the fall of 2003. A young woman named Sarah had just moved into a small rental house on the outskirts of town. The house wasn't anything special. 2 bedrooms, old creaky floors, windows that rattled when the wind blew. But it was cheap, and she needed cheap. For the first few weeks, everything was quiet, normal, until Sarah started noticing strange little things. The first was the spare bedroom door. She always kept it shut, but every morning she'd find it slightly open, not wide open, just a crack, as if someone had pushed it with their fingertips and stopped. At first, she blamed it on the draft, but then came the noises. Late at night, she would hear soft creaks, footsteps, moving across the living room floor, not the random cracks of an old house. These were heavy, deliberate, and every time she checked, nothing. One night, Sarah decided to test herself. She locked the spare room door. Then she placed a chair beneath the handle. Around 3 a.m, she woke to a faint, scraping sound. It was coming from the spare room. Her heart pounded as she crept down the hallway. The house was silent, except for that slow, dragging noise, like something heavy being pulled across the floor. And then she saw it. The spare room door unlocked, the chair shoved aside. She froze, and from inside the dark room came a whisper, "Come in." Sarah ran back to her room, slammed the door, and didn't sleep until sunrise. The next day, she begged her friend David to come over. Together, they opened the spare room. Empty. Nothing inside except an old, dust-covered closet. They laughed it off, tried to blame stress and imagination. But that night, David stayed on the couch. At 2:47 a.m, Sarah woke up to him screaming her name. She bolted into the living room. David stood pale and shaking, pointing at the spare room door. "It opened," he whispered, "on its own, and someone's in there." Sarah grabbed her phone and called the police. When the officers arrived, they swept through the house. At first, they found nothing, but then one of them opened the closet in the spare room. Behind the coats was a broken panel, a hole leading into the walls. Inside that crawl space, they found food wrappers, blankets, and a small, rusted knife. Someone had been living inside her house, watching her, waiting, for weeks, maybe longer. Sarah moved out the very next morning. She never went back for her things. But to this day, she says the most terrifying part wasn't knowing that a stranger had been hiding inside her walls. It was the whisper the night before the police came, because Sarah swears it wasn't a man's voice. It was a child's.